The gospel tells us that Jesus called to himself 12 apostles. These men too are represented by lighted candles. For Jesus spoke to them saying, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hid, nor do men light a candle and put it under a bushel. But on a candlestand it gives light to all the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven."
Called Simon Peter to be a disciple. He also called his brother Andrew. As Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting their nets into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Immediately they left their nets and followed him.
Perhaps some of us feel that of all the apostles, we most resemble Peter, a person of impulsive actions and an impetuous temper. We too are sometimes bold in our assertions of loyalty, timid when the pressures of others' opinions surround us. John's gospel tells us that it was Andrew who brought his brother Peter to Christ. In doing so, he brought a man far more able than himself. If you have ever introduced another to Christ, through teaching perhaps, or by ushering a friend into his presence at church, you have something in common with Andrew.
Jesus called James to be a disciple. He also called his brother John. And going on from there, he saw two brothers, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, in their boat with their father, mending their nets. And he called them. Immediately they left their boat and their father and followed him.
James was one of the inner circle and was always mentioned second. Perhaps he was second in importance to Peter, but how different he was. He was a man of silence, whose deeds were great, but words were few. He said little, but felt deeply, at times even fiercely, and was known as one of the sons of thunder. James was the first to give his life for Christ. This quiet, fearless man, as head of the church, faced Herod in Jerusalem and was put to death. John, the brother of James, was also one of the inner circle. This rough, tempestuous fellow was never lukewarm. Bluntly, he would ask for a favorite place in the kingdom or desire to call down fire on a Samaritan village. Why did Jesus want him? Much can be done with such a type. John was the only disciple who dared to be at the cross, and it was he who took Mary, the mother of Jesus, to care for her.
Jesus called Thomas to be a disciple.
Thomas the Doubter, a man of moods, always wanting to be certain before he took a step. His high mood of daring led him to volunteer to go to Jerusalem to die with Christ. His mood of despair caused him to be absent when the risen Christ appeared first. Christ drew from Thomas the most touching confession of faith anywhere in the Gospels. In the end, his mind was made up, and his doubts were overcome by personal experiences of the risen Christ.
Jesus called Matthew to be a disciple. Jesus went out and saw a tax collector named Levi sitting at the tax office, and he said to him, "Follow me." He left everything and rose and followed Christ.
Christ has a place for the businessman. Matthew, as a tax collector, was hated for holding a job from Rome. Money and greed were not bringing Matthew happiness. Jesus saw his good and called him. It was Matthew who later emphasized, "No man can serve two masters. You cannot serve God and money."
He also called Judas Iscariot.
Judas must have been sincere at first. He was trusted to be treasurer of the disciple band. Judas was an ardent nationalist who may have tried to force Christ's hand to create an earthly kingdom. He was greedy and had a narrow vision. In the end, he learned tragically that he had misunderstood, and it broke his heart. Greed and treachery together brought on the world's greatest tragedy.
Jesus called Philip.
Philip was a matter-of-fact man, rather lacking in imagination and flaming vision. He gave attention to small details and wanted all the visible facts that could be demonstrated. Christ enlarged his vision until later it was Philip who converted an Ethiopian and revealed his own faith. Others proclaimed the ideals. It was Philip who figured out how to put them to practice.
Jesus called Simon the Zealot.
As a zealot, Simon must have been a man on fire with a love for his country and a desire for its freedom. The zealots were a small but intensely patriotic group. Christ has a place for ardent feelings, which can be either an asset or a liability. Simon must have been what Judas could have been by using his fervor and faithful devotion.
Jesus called James, Bartholomew, and Thaddeus.
Nothing that these three did or said is recorded in our Gospels. Perhaps they were quiet men, yet they gave their energy and time to Him who called them. Sometimes the silent people who make no headlines are the best bridges by which the gospel is supported. In order to symbolize perhaps the 12 tribes of Israel, Jesus chose 12 men for his inner circle. Such a variety of personalities he chose to serve him. One might wonder how they could ever get along together, but under their master's constant care, they discovered a deep unity in their lives. These 12 men Jesus sent out charging them, "Preach as you go, saying, 'The kingdom of heaven is at hand.' Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast out demons. You receive without pay, give without pay. Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they will deliver you up to council and flog you in their synagogues, and you will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake. So bear witness before them and the Gentiles. When they deliver you up, do not be anxious how you are to speak or what you are to say. For what you are to say will be given unto you in that hour. For it is not you that speaks, but the Spirit of the Father speaking through you. Everyone that acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father."
So to say that filleth for hour has come. Glorify thy Son, Holy Father. Keep them in thy name which thou hast given me, that they may be one, even as we are one. While I was with them, I kept them. I have guarded them. But now I am coming to thee. I do not pray that thou should take them out of the world, but thou shalt keep them from evil. Sanctify them in truth. As thou didst send them into the world, so I have sent them into the world. I will make thy name known, that the love which thou hast given me I may give to them.
When Jesus had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples across the Kidron Valley, where there was a garden, where he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew this place, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. So Judas, procuring a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Jesus, knowing all that was to befall him, came forward and said to them,
Whom do you seek?
They answered him, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said to them,
I am he.
Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When he said to them, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. Again, he asked them,
Whom do you seek?
And they answered, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus answered,
I told you that I am he. So if you seek me, let these men go.
Then those who had seized Jesus led him to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders had gathered. But Peter followed at a distance as far as the courtyard of the high priest, and going inside, he sat with the guards to see the end. Now Peter was outside in the courtyard, and a maid came up to him and said, "You also were with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied it before them all, saying, "I don't know this man." And Peter went outside to the porch, and another maid said to him, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." And again he denied it with an oath, "I do not know this man." After a little while the bystanders came up to Peter and said, "Certainly you are one of them, for your accent betrays you." Then he began to evoke a curse on himself and to swear, "I do not know this man." And immediately the cock crowed. The crosses are there on the top of a little hill. The victims are waiting, helpless, like lambs for the slaughter. Now the soldiers come with ladder and hammer and nails. The crowd of people presses closer. They must miss nothing. Put up the placard. It's the worst they could say about him. King of Jews. The priests were half satisfied. It was a charge of treason. It had brought him to the cross. To the soldiers looking at this lonely figure dying a shameful death, it seemed ridiculous. Even the two thieves in their pain grinned at the taunt. That helpless man nailed to the wood, a king. 4 soldiers strip him. The nails are driven through the hands. They pierced his feet. Their eyes had grown old, the crosses seemed blurred and indistinct, but their tears ceased. A gray haze came creeping over the whole city. It deepened into a darkness that presently hid him. Silence. Beyond the curtain of strange night, he was alone with God. Suddenly the silence was broken by a cry of anguish.
My God, why hast thou forsaken me?
It came from the parched lips of the one dying on that unseen cross. What did it mean to those who listened? Could it be that even the Father had left him alone at last? And now from those moistened lips came what seemed like a last word. When Jesus had therefore received the vinegar, he said,
It is finished.